Well, welcome back, folks. At least I say welcome back. Hopefully, you're a returning visitor to my channel. If you're a new visitor, hey, check out some of my other videos. If you clicked on this one, I know you like firearms, and hopefully you have a nice appreciation for Smith & Wesson revolvers. What we've got here today, some people consider it a classic. I know I myself do. If you haven't watched Hickok 45's video on this one, check it out when you get a chance. Hopefully you're a Hickok 45 watcher. He has a really good review of this one. I believe Hickok seems to feel that this is more of a classic than the Model 36. If you haven't seen my video on the Model 36, I'll put a link of it in the description of this one. Check it out too. I think I did a pretty good video on that one on an old Model 36. But what we have here is a Smith & Wesson Model 60 revolver. So, the story behind this, if you watch my Model 36 video, you will see that, you know what, let me zoom in a little bit and give you guys some close-ups here. If you watch my Smith & Wesson Model 36 video, you'll kind of know the background, the history on the Model 36. The Model 36 was first introduced as the Chief's Special back in 1950, I believe it was. And at that time, Smith & Wesson didn't number their guns. They just called them different models, like the M&P, which was the 38 revolver, the 38 special revolver that was used for the military. And then they had just various other guns. But they introduced it as the Chief's Special. And what happened in 1957, they changed to a modeling number system. So the Chief Special became the Model 36. Well, it wasn't until 1965 that they came out with this little beauty. And this is the Model 60. I'll show you guys that it is empty and also show you some close-ups of it too. Now, what the Model 60 is, when it was first released, it was basically a stainless steel version of the Model 36, which is cool, right? I do appreciate a nice blued finish, especially on the older Smith revolvers. I'm not a big, huge stainless fan on revolvers, but I have to say this one is pretty nice too. Another want for my collection is to pick up a nickel-plated Model 36 with factory nickel at some time, if there is such a thing. But anyway, to digress, back to the topic at hand. Yeah, 1965, they introduced the Model 60. Now, who here can tell me what was significant about this introduction? I'll give you about, 5 or 10 seconds or something like that to mull it over. Let me give you a hint. What was another thing that this gun was the first for? Okay, if you give up, the Model 60, when it was introduced, was the first handgun. It depends on the sources you say. For sure, it was the first revolver. Most sources say the first handgun to be produced in stainless steel. And I'm sure you can hear my dog barking. Let me give him a chance to calm down. Okay, I think he's quieted down now. I apologize for that. If you're a dog lover, you know what I'm dealing with. But yes, the Model 60 was the first. If you believe Wikipedia, they say it was the first regular production all stainless steel firearm made. I'm sure there were some one-offs and things like that before then, of course, but this was the first one to go into production. Now, when it was released, it was a huge hit in 1965. There were waiting lists at gun shops and everything else. Everybody was trying to get one, etc. And they're still being made today. Now, what I really like about this one is, like, the original one is chambered in 38 special, okay? Now, what you guys may or may not know is that these early Model 60s, and like the Model 36, the early Model 36s, they're actually a little bit smaller than today's J-frames, than like your 637, 638, 642s, etc. The reason being is that the cylinder on these is cut to length from here to here, specifically for 38 special. Nowadays, they have so many J-frames that are also chambered in 357. Well, probably for tooling savings and production savings, the cylinders are all cut to length for 357, which is a little bit longer. Not much longer, but they're all cut to length for 357, even if it is one that is only chambered in 38 special. Now, don't get me wrong, you can't put 357 in one that's only chambered in 38 special, but the cylinder is the same length as the 357 ones. And by the cylinder being the same length, therefore the frame from here to here can be the same length, etc. So that's another reason I like these older 36s and 65s, or Model 60s rather, is because they're actually smaller and more compact than today's J-frames. Not by much, but it is a noticeable difference. So that's another interesting factoid. And again, as I've said in many of my videos before, I am far from a Smith & Wesson guru or expert or something along those lines of that. I just like them. I like them a lot. And you can see as well, this one does have hammer-mounted firing pin. Now, this particular version was made in 1970, which makes it special to me because someone very important to me, myself, was born in that year. And that's something that I always like to have. I always think it's cool when you find a revolver that's born in your birth year or the birth year of someone special to you. So, one thing you might notice too, I mean, this is a no dash, but really, honestly, that's not too big of a deal because they made these in the no dash up until, and again, I'm not an expert, I'm thinking it was sometime in 1980s is when they actually started putting a dash in these, and a lot of the Model 60s in the short barrel, they just didn't have room for a dash, so they're all marked as like a no dash. Now, I don't know enough the differences, the changes and stuff like that, but nowadays, a lot of the newer Model 60s you see will be chambered in 357 Magnum, and they're also pretty popular. I think they make them with a, I think it's a 3-inch barrel. I think this is a 60-10 that has a 3-inch barrel, adjustable sights, and you can see this one has the standard airweight sights, J-frame sights. But yeah, guys, there's just something about these that is just, I just love these older classic Smiths, these little snubs. Watch my 36 video as well, and you can see, you know, kind of what I'm talking about. Now, this one's not obviously. I mean, you've been sitting here looking at it. It's not perfect shape, but it's pretty darn good shape. Now, another bonus that I have for this one is this. Hang on. Boop. Look at that. Is it? Yes, it is. It's the original box for it. And it has the Bangor Punta markings on it. You know, as we all know that Smith was owned at that time by Bangor Punta. This is a treat for me. You know, I got this one in trade. I got it in a pretty good trade. And I usually can't afford to buy one that has the original box. Now, as you can see, it doesn't have the little tool. It doesn't have the paper, but it does have the instructions. Now, I wonder if these are original to it, this set of instructions. I don't know for sure or not. I think someone might have stuck this in here. This might be later, or it might be original to it, but this definitely is. And you can see right here, actually, Model 38 Chief Special stainless revolver. And they give a little breakout and stuff like that on it and everything. So they're calling it 19 ounces. We're going to weigh it here in a second to see. Let's take a flip through this real quick, though. That's pretty cool that someone, you know, kept up with this since 1970. And let me tell you, that was a long time ago. Got the little parts list and everything with it. So yeah, that's another really cool little treat with this. And it seems like more and more nowadays, a lot of these collectors, these revolver collectors and stuff like that, they like to see that. They like to see you have the original box for it. So I do have the box for a lot of my newer ones, like ones from the 80s and 90s and the 2000 and stuff like that. But I'd love to have an old 36 with the beautiful blued finish that has the telescoping box, the old box with the metal pieces on the corners, versus this one is the hinge box, the live hinge box. But so yeah, let's they said it was 19 ounces. Let's see how accurate they were. Trusty scale. See if I can find one of my weights, if my wife hasn't hid it from me. We got a 500 gram weight, which is 17.6 ounces. So that's showing my scales accurate. 19.4 ounces. Smith, you were just a little bit off on that, weren't you? But we all know that 0.4 of an ounce, that can come from the grips. The grips just being a little bit denser wood than what they usually are. And these grips on this one are actually surprisingly pretty nice. Now, I got this in trade just a while back from a gentleman that is a retired law enforcement officer. And looking at them, you can see that one little hint. He said he did carry this. He did carry this at times. Not a whole lot, but obviously you can tell. But you can see that this logo versus that emblem on this side, this emblem is more worn. So obviously I think this was probably in a, it could have been in an ankle holster inside left ankle if he was right-handed, or it could have been in a right hand, the strong side belt holster or something like that, promoting a little bit more wear on that side. And you can see the grip on this side does have a couple of little extra dings and whatnot. And that's not real uncommon. If you get an old service revolver of some sort, it's not uncommon to see signs of wear predominantly more on one side than the other. But yeah, anyway, folks, that's what I wanted to do today, is just show you this pretty little gun in the collection. Being the year this was made, this one is a keeper for me. This is one of those ones that I guess I'll leave it up to my kids or my grandkids or my wife to fight over, when something happens to me someday. So, as always, thank you for watching. Please click that like button. It really helps out with the algorithms when people look for my videos. Subscribe if you haven't, and drop a comment if you have any questions. Y'all be safe out there. Take care.